At the news tonight, state government urged community leaders to educate youth to promote development. Federal government says to empower farmers with mechanization to improve their skills. Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to monitor hikes in prices of goods and services. Abroad, Israeli Prime Minister says Israel will make its own decisions in self-defense. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Delta Television News. My name is Pauline Okoli. Community leaders have been urged to educate their youth on the need to promote coexistence and development in the state. Special Advisor to the State Government Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave the charge when he met in Asaba with the leaders of Abi and Emu kingdoms, both in Ndokwa West local government area. Deborah Waloro reports.
Chief Uzo said community leaders were more knowledgeable in the history of their communities. Hence, they should educate the younger generation on promoting peace with neighbors.
We must, as leaders, educate our children and to find out the exact truth, because it's only truth that can save us. It's only truth that can save us.
He reiterated that Governor Sheriff Oboriwori had between both communities being brought down several times by unknown groups. The special advisor maintained that Abi community erected its signboard where it had always been, while urging the leaders to maintain peace and order in their communities.
We also have directed that the Abi people should immediately go back and erect the signpost at the boundary area. It is our place of opinion that the community should go home and live in peace and maintain the peace of the entire area.
In their contributions, the member representing Ndukwa West constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Charles Emetulu, the executive assistant to the state governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Sir Emmanuel Ebu, and a member of the Peace Advisory Council, Chief Idu Amade, advised the communities to remain peaceful as they had been over the years, citing cases of warring communities in the past and their challenges.
Should manage this matter very well and listen to the wise counsel from Aichi. So I join our special advisor and other members of the high table who are pleaded for peace. Let peace reign so that our children will not inherit any wahala. Thank you.
Earlier, leaders of the communities spoke extensively on the boundary dispute, calling on the state government to resolve the matter amicably to enable the communities live as one.
Since I was born, Emu and Abi have never had land dispute. Although it's a stream, Abi has a pond there, Emu has pond, but although
The major concern is we want to make sure our boundary is properly identified. The river is our boundary. That's what we know so many years ago, and we have never found any day.
Deborah Uwalogo reporting.
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has said that the federal government is empowering farmers with mechanization, not for only technological advancement, but to improve their skills and knowledge to meet global market demand. Senator Kyari stated this at a special agro-equipment agro-expo with the theme Sustainable Food Security and Agro-Produce Export Through Mechanization. He said diversifying the nation's economy required strategic planning and conscious investment in agriculture and agribusinesses, nurturing small and medium enterprises, and creating an enabling environment that fosters innovation within and across borders. The minister, who was represented by a director in the ministry, Mr. Gagare Madungu, said deployment of agricultural mechanization was one of the cardinal objectives of the President Bola Tinubu administration. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, has criticized permanent secretaries for their alleged poor approach to implementing the performance management system (PMS) across ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs) of the federal government. Speaking at the 2024 PMS retreat in Abuja, Dr. Yemieson accused permanent secretaries of being clueless and neglecting their duties. She admonished them to stop passing their duties to directors and start taking responsibility. Dr. Yemieson warned that the era of complacency was over, vowing to crack down on underperformance with rigorous scrutiny of quarterly reports. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usei, has warned that 148 local government areas across 31 states in the country are among the highly probable flood risk areas for 2024. Professor Usei issued the warning during the official unveiling of the 2024 Annual Flood Outlook AFO in Abuja. The theme of this year's AFO is promoting the use of data analytics and modeling for flood risk assessments and food security. He listed the states include Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, Imo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, and Kogi. Others are Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, and Yobe. The minister emphasized the importance of proactive measures to mitigate potential flood impacts in these areas, adding that there was need for preparedness, early warning systems, and community engagement to minimize damage to lives and property. He said that the high flood risk areas span from April to November 2024 with potential impacts on population, agriculture, livelihoods, livestock, infrastructure, and the environment. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Ministry of Education to formulate modalities for the inclusion of National Open University of Nigeria, now graduates within the National Youth Service Corps NYSC framework, particularly those within the service aid bracket as allowed by the law. President Tinubu gave the directive during the 13th convocation ceremony of the university at university headquarters in Abuja. The president was represented by the Deputy Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission NUC, Dr. Biadin Salih, also disclosed the positive resolution of the long-standing issue regarding the attendance of non-law graduates at the Nigerian Law School. The president, who is the visitor to the university, said the gathering signified not only the academic achievement of the graduates, but also underscored the pivotal role open and distance education (ODL) played in the nation's educational landscape. The promise that its administration would continue to promote open and distance learning (ODL) to improve access to higher education in the country, stressing that the deployment of the ODL was key to achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) has resolved to monitor and investigate unusual hikes in prices of goods and services. The acting Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi, in a statement issued today, said it was unacceptable that despite the recent appreciation of the Naira against the dollar, consumers continue to face escalating costs without the corresponding decrease in prices. It added that while it cannot directly regulate prices, the Commission will utilize its existing legal framework to enforce fair competition and consumer protection provisions. Dr. Adamu said the FCCPC was aware of the concerns expressed by Nigerians regarding the continued rise in prices of goods and services. As the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, intensifies raids arrest and persecution of persons alleged to have abused the national currency, the naira. The Delta State Orientation Bureau has advised citizens to avoid violating the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act, which prohibits abuse of the naira. In a statement today, the Chief Executive Officer of the Bureau, Dr. Latimore Orenesiwe, said the EFCC task force on the abuse of the naira had reinforced its operational strategies in all zones of the Commission, aimed at preserving the integrity of the naira by the federal government. He advised all to avoid spraying the naira at social events, writing on banknotes, stapling of banknotes due to corrosion caused by the pins, tearing banknotes, selling of banknotes at events and parties, mutilation and rejection of banknotes, as well as money bouquet arranged in a way similar to flower bouquet, which offers the smell of freshly printed bills that one can spend at social gatherings and events. Dr. Oyenesibe, who is also the Executive Assistant on Communications to the State Governor, said the wave of arrest and persecution of offenders by the EFCC underscored the need for the Bureau to commence sensitization campaigns so as to prevent citizens from breaking the law. He said the ongoing efforts to preserve the integrity of the naira, which took effect from February this year, was long overdue, and commended the EFCC for securing 24 convictions across the country and over 200 alleged offenders, including Mr. Pascal Okechukwu, also known as Cubana Chief Priest, are facing persecution across the 14 zones of the Commission nationwide. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos State today granted businessman and socialite Pascal Okechukwu, better known as Cubana Chief Priest, 10 million naira bail with two sureties in life sum. The celebrity barman had earlier pleaded not guilty to tampering and abusing the naira during his trial. Cubana Chief Priest was arraigned before Justice Kendo Gundari on 3 counts of spraying and tampering with naira notes during a social event at a hotel in Lagos. When the case was called today, Mrs. Bilikisu Buhari appeared for the prosecution, while Mr. Chikosoli Ojuku announced appearance for the defendant. The defense counsel then first informed the court of a preliminary objection challenging the court's jurisdiction, as well as a bail application filed on behalf of the defendant. He informed the court that the prosecution was not opposed to same. After the charge was read to the defendant, he pleaded not guilty to the charge. In moving the bail application of the defendant, his counsel urged the court to grant him bail on liberal terms. He told the court that the defendant was admitted by the prosecution following his health condition, having that due to his weight, the defendant suffers palpitation. As public and private primary and secondary schools in the state have been directed to resume on Monday for the commencement of the third term academic activities. A statement signed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Augustine Owero, on behalf of the Commissioner for Primary Education, Dr. Kingsley Ashibogo, and his counterpart in charge of secondary education, Mrs. Rose, indicated that the resumption was for the ongoing 2023-2024 academic session. The statement noted that borders will resume on Sunday, while classes will begin on Monday after the cleaning of the classrooms by the learners under the supervision of their teachers. It reminded the learners that it was their promotion term, hence they should be more dedicated to their studies. The statement urged parents and guardians to prepare their children and wards for resumption, while also calling on teachers to be at their duty post on the resumption date and carry out their duties. It added that the two commissioners and the permanent secretary would monitor the level of teachers' compliance with the school resumption. You're watching Delta Television News. Still to come, Israeli Prime Minister says Israel will make its own decision on self-defense. Please stay with us. We'll be back. Singh is next as we join our World News Desk.
Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel will make its own decisions about how to defend itself, as Western countries pleaded for restraint in responding to a volley of attacks from Iran. The United States, European Union, and G7 group of industrialized nations all announced plans to consider tighter sanctions on Iran, seen as aimed at mollifying Israel and persuading it to rein in its retaliation for the first ever direct Iranian strikes after decades of confrontation by proxy. Mr. Netanyahu met the German and British foreign ministers, who both traveled to Israel as part of a coordinated push to keep confrontation between Israel and Iran from escalating into a regional conflict fueled by the Gaza war. More than 6 months into the Gaza war between Israel and the Iran-backed Palestinian militant group Hamas that has seen flare-ups across the Middle East, diplomats are searching for a way to avert direct battle between Israel and Iran. The opposition in Togo has denounced a proposed new constitution as a power grab intended to extend the reign of President Faure Gnassingbé. The reforms would see the West African country move from a presidential to a parliamentary system. But the opposition says they are a ruse to keep Mr. Gnassingbé already in his fourth term in power. The president's supporters said the changes would reduce the powers of the head of state by transforming the presidency into a ceremonial role. Human Rights Minister Yawa Jigbodi says they will improve democracy in the country. But the opposition says the reforms would allow him to remain president until 2031 and then be appointed to the new position of President of the Council of Ministers, in effect Prime Minister, continuing his family's 57-year rule. President Gnassingbé came to power in 2005 after the death of his father, who had been president since 1967. The constitutional changes were approved by lawmakers last month, but in the face of mounting public anger, Mr. Gnassingbé paused the reforms and said they would be subject to further consultations. Flooding caused by heavy rains has affected large areas of Kenya, including the capital Nairobi. At least 11 people have been killed and more than 17,000 are displaced. The rainy season that began in mid-March has damaged homes and farmlands. Those affected are appealing for urgent government assistance as hunger and the risk of diseases loomed. The Kenya Red Cross is helping those who have been forced from their homes and has advised those in low-lying areas to seek shelter. The rain is forecast to last until early next week. South Africa's Gauteng Department of Health has cautioned the public about the spike in food poisoning cases, especially among children in the province. A shocking incident saw 41 children aged 3 to 5 rushed to Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital after mistakenly consuming rat poison, thinking it was candy. Another 10 people were treated at Thele Mogoran Regional Hospital after ingesting poisonous substances. This incident brought the total number of foodborne illnesses recorded since October to 863, with 11 lives lost. The acting head of communication, Kotso Robotata, said support and resources would continue for affected communities. The department has urged parents and caregivers to be vigilant and join the efforts to prevent food poisoning. Public health campaigns are underway to raise awareness in townships, informal settlements, and hostels about the risk of foodborne diseases.
Away from the foreign scene, let's join our business news desk for business stories.
$20 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery has slashed the price of diesel by 16.6% to 1,000 naira per litre from 1,200 naira per litre in order to assist in impacting Nigeria's domestic economy. The price of diesel was relatively high for months due mainly to the importation of the product from global markets and foreign exchange crisis associated with it. Getting a statement today, the company stated that in an unprecedented move, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has announced a further reduction of the price of diesel from 1,200 to 1,000 naira per litre. Recently, chairman of Dangote Group Alhaji Aliko Dangote said that his refinery capacity to sell diesel at greatly reduced prices would further offer immediate relief to Nigerians' inflation challenges. Dangote revealed that his refinery had been selling diesel at 1,200 naira per litre compared to the previous market price of 1,600 naira to 1,700 naira. He added that he was expecting a dramatic reduction in fuel costs to help drive down inflation in the coming month. Dangote made this known while speaking with newsmen after visiting President Bola Tinubu to celebrate Eid al-Fitr in Lagos. The rise in the prices of gari, millet, yam, dried fish, sardines, and akpu uncooked ferments pushed food inflation to a record high of 40.01% in March. This was revealed in the latest Consumer Price Index report by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). Others are moodfish, dried palm oil, vegetable oil, beef feet, beef head, liver, coconut, watermelon, Lipton tea, and Bonvita and Milo. The report said the rise in food inflation on a year-on basis was caused by increases in prices of gari, millet, akpu, yam tuber, water yam, dried sardine fish, moodfish, dried palm oil, vegetable oil, beef head, liver, amongst others. The NBS highlighted that food inflation has continued on a steady rise, reaching 40.01% in March 2024 on a year-on-year basis, which is 15.56% higher compared to 24.45% recorded in March 2023 and 37.90% recorded in February 2024. On a month-on-month basis, the food inflation rate in March 2024 was 3.62%, which indicates a 0.17% decrease compared to 3.79% recorded in February 2024. The NBS said the rise in food inflation on a month-on-month basis was caused by a rise in the rate of increase in the average prices of potatoes, yam, and other tubers, bread and cereals, fish, meat, fruits, coffee, tea, and vegetables. Nigeria's headline inflation rose to 33.2% in March from 31.70% in February, which is the 15th consecutive monthly increase. A breakdown of the report shows that food and non-alcoholic beverages contributed most to the increase in the headline inflation.
To join our entertainment news desk for the latest stories in the world of showbiz.
Popular singer Davido has reacted to today's 10 million naira bail granted socialite Pascal Okechukwu, also known as Cubana Chief Priest, after he pleaded not guilty to alleged naira abuse. Cubana Chief Priest, who was arraigned before Justice Kehinde Ogundare of the Federal High Court, Lagos, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on a 3-count charge bordering on abuse of the naira, was granted bail for 10 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum after pleading not guilty. The socialite had taken to his Instagram handle to thank his friends and fans for their concerns shortly after he was granted bail. He noted that he was humbled by the trial, while adding that it has confirmed that he isn't small. Reacting to his post via the comment section, Davido said it was not possible for Cubana Chief Priest to be jailed, stressing that he could not bear not seeing him for 6 months. Recall that Justice Abimbola Awogboro of the Federal High Court in Lagos last Friday sentenced popular cross-dresser Bobrisky to 6 months in jail without the option of a fine after he was convicted of naira mutilation. Popular singer Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has advised his fans to open bank accounts for him to transfer money to them, as praying money has now become a crime in the country. In a viral video, he was seen pleading with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, AFCC, to forgive him for spraying money on his fans yesterday. This followed the 6 months jail sentence handed to crossdresser Idris Okoneye, also known as Bobrisky, for a naira mutilation offense. Speaking in Yoruba during the live chat, Portable said he didn't deface the naira. Popular businessman and socialite Emeka Okonkwo, also known as E-Money, has promised to take care of the children of late Nollywood actor Junior Pope. Recall that Junior Pope and 4 others lost their lives after their boat capsized on the Anam River in Anambra State while returning from a movie location. Mourning the late actor, E-Money disclosed that Junior Pope's last words were about his commitment to train his 3 sons. He pledged to fulfill the late actor's wish by taking over the responsibility for his kids.
On sports, Brazil football legend Romario has announced that he's coming out of retirement at 58 to play for Brazilian side America Football Club. This comes 15 years after he quit playing the sport. During his playing career, Romario won the World Cup in 1994 and featured for Dutch side PSV and La Liga giants Barcelona. Romario has now registered himself as a player for America Football Club, where he serves as president and also where his son, Romarino, plays his football. In an Instagram post, he claimed that playing with his son and for his favorite team is his main motivation. The Brazilian legend will be paid a minimum wage at the club but will return it to America as a donation, according to Marca. And still on sports, Enyimba technical advisor Finidi George said he expected his team to score more goals in their 1-0 win over Heartland yesterday. A Kenawazia's lone strike gave the People's Elephants maximum points in the game. Finidi revealed that he was a little bit worried with a narrow victory in the game. He, however, commended the players for presenting him the victory as a befitting gift for his birthday. The former Super Eagles midfielder clocked 53 on Monday. Now our thoughts for the day. Don't give up. Pain is temporary. Regrets is forever. We take a look at our highlights. Community leaders have been urged to educate their youth on the need to promote coexistence and development in the state. The Special Advisor to the State Government Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave the charge when he met in Asaba with leaders of Abi and Emu kingdoms, both in Ndokwa West local government area. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has said that the federal government is empowering farmers with mechanization, not for only technological advancements, but to improve their skills and knowledge to meet global market demand. Senator Kyari stated this at a special agro expo with the theme Sustainable Food Security and Agro-Produce Export Through Mechanization. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has resolved to monitor and investigate unusual hikes in prices of goods and services. The acting Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi, in a statement issued today, said it was unacceptable that despite the recent appreciation of the Naira against the dollar, consumers continue to face escalating costs without a corresponding decrease in prices. And from the foreign scene, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel will make its own decision about how to defend itself as Western countries pleaded for restraint in responding to a volley of attacks from Iran. The United States, European Union, and G7 group of industrialized nations all announced plans to consider tighter sanctions on Iran, seen as aimed at mollifying Israel and persuading it to rein in its retaliation for the first ever direct Iranian strikes after decades of confrontation by proxy. That's our news on Delta Television. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Pauline Okole. Good night.